Hello and welcome back to the second live stream of the day today. Man, I feel like the camera is wrong, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm Gavin. Thank you very much for joining me today. We are going to be digging into the case of the murder of Rebecca Byler. Now, Rebecca Byler was a 26-year-old Amish mother of two, 6 months pregnant with a baby. Because of her religious beliefs, and we have no photograph of Mrs. Byler, our victim here. All we have are photographs of the Byler farm that I took back on the day that police began investigating her murder, which I believe was back in February. I'll be able to pull up that information here pretty soon. But this is the Byler farm, and the person who is accused in this case of causing Mrs. Byler's death, which is a nice way of saying of murdering her, is this guy, a guy named Sean Cranston. Sean Cranston is a guy from Corey, PA. He has a bit of a criminal history, including the strange, shooting a farmed deer through a high fence. It's a strange case. And I don't mean to make light of anything, but recently I'm going to put this up on the screen. Recently I've been having, several people come in and ask for updates on this case. And I typically don't do an update on the case unless there is something to update. And so on this case, which it garnered national attention. Obviously, you've got the most innocent of innocents being murdered here. And anyway, I've covered this since the very beginning, and you guys can always go to my website. Let me find my right button here. Go to my website, gavinfish.com, and let's pull this down just a little bit. There we go. And you can go to the Rebecca Byler case page, and you can see everything that I've put here on the page. She was killed on February 26th in Sparta Township, Crawford County, outside of Spartansburg. We've got a lot of videos on it, a lot of photos of the area, and then a lot of case documents. And you will see that I've added some case documents. The last one that was here up until about an hour ago was my preliminary hearing notes of Sean Cranston's preliminary hearing. I've added 5 more documents that I received from the court today. Thank you very much to the AOPC for doing that here in the state of Pennsylvania. I didn't even have to ask for them. They just sent them to me because they're awesome. But my patrons on the website can go and they can look at these documents at any time. If you're not a patron of mine, don't worry about it because we're going to do it here on this video. We're going to go through everything here on the video. So why don't we just go ahead and dive in? Let's get you over here. We've got 5 documents to go over. They're all pretty short. This one is from April 3rd. And this is the appearance of a lawyer on behalf of Sean Christopher Cranston. This is the entry of appearance, April 2nd, 2024. I hereby appear for Sean C. Cranston, the defendant in the above entitled case. I hereby permit service of these matters in this case upon me by the following methods, and then it gives a number, U.S. mail, and so forth. But this basically is this is a new lawyer. Cranston was originally, during the preliminary hearing, he was represented by the public defender there in Crawford County. He has now got himself an attorney out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a man named Lewis W. Emmy Esquire, because he is an attorney at law. So that's number 1. Mr. Cranston now is going to be represented, or has been represented since April 2nd, by a private attorney. Where the money is coming from to do that, to represent him, I do not know. I imagine that Mr. Cranston has reached out to family member and friends, and there are plenty of people I know, because they all reach out to me. There are plenty of people that believe that he did not do this. And of course, in our justice system, we are innocent until proven guilty, right? So I guess it's believable for me that people think that he did not commit the crime. Okay, so that's number one. That's the first update that I want to give you guys. The second update is a filing from April 4th, and this is simply called the information that is filed. These are the charges against him. And if you guys remember and you go back to all the videos that I've done before, bringing you back over to my website here, I've done what? Before this is this video that we're doing right now. I've done 9 videos before that, before today. You will remember that there really isn't a lot of information coming out of this case. The probable cause affidavit was light on information, and it turns out that a lot of it was sealed. Other stuff came out later. You can read those documents here, but we still don't have a lot. All we know is that, well, it's not all we know, but the main thing that we know is that Rebecca Byler was stabbed to death in the neck, that Mr. Cranston was seen driving his car in the area. His car was seen in their driveway. If we go back to the farm, let's see if I can find a good picture. The kind of where that police cruiser is right there, that is where people said they saw his car. Both Amish and non-Amish people saw that. There was a video of him driving in the area at the Sportsman Club. There was video of him washing his car after the crime had been committed. There was video of him taking things out of his car and putting them into his camper on his property. And there was also video of him burning something next to his camper on the property. So there is a lot that we know, but they have withheld quite a bit as far as the probable cause affidavit. Just seems very, very light. So most of what we know came out during the preliminary hearing, and you can read my notes here. Or if you're not a patron of mine, you can go back to this video right here, which is the preliminary hearing, and we go through all my notes. Okay. All right. So getting back over to the documents in Acrobat, this is what Mr. Cranston is charged with. Count 1 is criminal homicide. This likely will be changed at some point to some degree of murder. They're probably first degree murder, second degree murder, or if it continues to be prosecuted as criminal homicide, then the jury will be asked to make up their mind as to what it was, first, second, or third degree murder or manslaughter here in the Commonwealth. Kind of funny. Count 2 is the criminal homicide of an unborn child. Of course, we know that Mrs. Byler was 6 months pregnant with her baby. We know that Dr. Eric Vey from the Erie County Coroner's Office, he's their forensic pathologist. He did the autopsy here, and we know the cause of the death of Mrs. Byler and her unborn child. Count number 3 is burglary. And this stems from him entering the dwelling where Mrs. Byler and her children were. Remember, there were 2 children that were present when their mother was murdered. So that is a burglary charge. And again, if you go back to my my website, you will see this video right here discusses a rash of burglaries that happened in and around Spartansburg up until the time that Mr. Cranston was arrested. So there was a rash of burglaries happening in the area that I think is indicative that he was just out trying to steal stuff. That's what I think. Of course, innocent till proven guilty, and this is all just my my opinion at this point. Okay, so that was filed, and lastly, we have a criminal trespass count. So they're putting on as many criminal counts as they can. These are all felony counts. I don't think there's another count. I think that's it. Okay, so the rest of it is just boilerplate. So felony 1, felony 1, felony 1, and felony 3. So Mr. Cranston is facing some pretty serious charges. That is the second document that I want to share with you tonight. Even though we do, where is my mouse? There we are. We did already know what he was being charged with, but that has been filed now. Okay, now the next 3 documents that I'm going to share with you were filed Monday, yesterday, and today. Let's start with Monday's filing. This is a motion for the continuance of the trial into the September trial term. And now May 10th, 2024, the defendant, so this is coming from the defendant side, moves the court to continue this case to the September trial term because counsel has received large amounts of discovery and counsel needs significant time to review and investigate. District Attorney Paula DiGiacomo consents to this continuance. As you guys know, here in the United States, we have a constitutional right to a speedy trial. Most people do not get a speedy trial because most people give up that right. In this case, that is what's happening here. This motion for a continuance of the trial is a motion to give up that right to a speedy trial. But we do have some, I don't think there's much more in that. There's just kind of boilerplate notice of service. Okay, so the trial, which could have been scheduled as early as June, is already being pushed back at least until the September trial term. And if I believe that term is a 3-month term, I believe. Not sure on that, but I think it's done quarterly. Let's see. This filing came out Tuesday. This is an order of the court. And now, May 14th, pursuant to this statute, the court schedules a pre-trial conference for June 24th, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. in courtroom number 2 of the Crawford County Judicial Center. Let's talk about pre-trial conference. Okay, so in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, there are multiple levels of courts. In criminal courts, there are 3. 4, I guess. Starts at the district court. In the district court, that's where we had the preliminary hearing, and that is where the judge heard everything at the preliminary hearing and made her decision as to whether or not there was enough probable cause to move forward into the Court of Common Pleas. In other places, that is done via indictment, and here in Pennsylvania, it is done by a district judge at a preliminary hearing. Now we move up to the Court of Common Pleas. The Court of Common Pleas is where almost everything happens here in the Commonwealth for both criminal and civil matters. Now, so on the criminal side of things, what has to happen first is what would be considered an arraignment. This, for some reason, I don't understand why, is known as a pretrial conference in the Commonwealth. It's basically an arraignment. So he was arraigned once already in district court. Now he's going to be arraigned and have a pretrial conference at the Court of Common Pleas. This is now scheduled for June 24th at 10:30 a.m. I am planning on attending that. There are no cameras allowed in any court in the Commonwealth, and so I will be reporting from there both for my day job and for you guys. So that is a big thing. And then what should the parties be prepared to discuss? Any issues regarding discovery, any issues regarding the criminal statute 568. I don't know. I wonder what that is. I'm actually not sure what that is. That might just be the procedure of the court. Number 3, the ability of the parties to try this case during the November 2024 term of criminal trial. So it's now being pushed back beyond September. They need to be prepared to talk about the anticipated length of the trial and any other matters as may aid in the disposition of this case. The court's incentive is to dispose of cases as quickly as possible. This is a murder trial or a murder case, so I don't see any reason why a defendant would plea. I mean, the vast majority, something like 99% of cases do get pleaded down. In a murder case like this, I don't see any incentive that Mr. Cranston would have to plea. I think this is probably going to go to trial. So the court will want to dispose of this case as quickly as they possibly can. All right, that is document number 4. Document number 5 came out this very day. This is a decorum order governing the pre-trial conference. This order basically is the governing document of people who want to attend the pre-trial conference. Let's go ahead and read this. I have not read it yet. I'm hoping that they're going to allow me to bring a laptop, because here in this county, I have to do everything by hand. Even on a 2.5-day trial, guys, 2.5-day trial that I did Monday, yesterday, and today, I still wrote 30 pages. I don't know if you guys can see that. 30 pages of notes, handwritten notes. My fingers are killing me. I am hoping that this judge is going to allow a laptop or a tablet to be brought in. Let's find out together. Okay, and now May 15th, 2024, the following order is entered. The terms of this order apply to the conduct of the pretrial conference scheduled for June 24th at 10:30 a.m. in courtroom number 2 in Crawford County at the Judicial Center. The provisions noted as mandatory shall be applied by the court and enforced accordingly by its officers and agents, including the Crawford County Sheriff and court staff. The provisions noted as informational are intended to provide meaningful structure and guidance to those reporters and members of the general public who will be attending the pretrial conference. In the preliminary hearing, there were reporters from Erie. There were reporters from Corey, which is where Mr. Cranston is from. There was me. I cover Venango, Clarion, and Jefferson counties, and then even the AP was there. So they're probably expecting some, journalism representation. Okay, mandatory. Reporters and members of the general public will be admitted to courtroom number 2 between 10:15 and 10:30. Reporters and members of the general public will not be admitted to courtroom number 2 after 10:30 a.m. except as otherwise authorized by the sheriff. The sheriff, by the way, I don't know him. I can't remember his name at this moment, but I did find him to be a fair and good person to govern the conduct of the courtroom last time. Mandatory number 2, reporters may be required to show media identification, including a photo upon request of the sheriff's department, which is no problem. Number 3, no food or beverages are permitted in the courtroom. I still can't believe they do that. Can we not bring in a water bottle? But okay. Number 4, no one except the parties or their representatives have standing to address the court or speak during the time the court is in session. That's pretty typical. Should anyone violate this order, they will be immediately ordered to leave the courtroom. Number 5, no electronic transmission, video recording, sound recording, or any other electronic duplication of the proceedings of any type is permitted in the courtroom. This is a Pennsylvania law. So typically we turn off everything when we go into the courtroom. Number 6, reporters and members of the general public may carry cell phones or similar devices into the courtroom. However, the device must be turned off and stored in a pocket or purse and out of sight at all times. That is our habit. Number 7. Oh, good. Okay. Reporters will be permitted to use laptops, tablets, or other similar devices in the courtroom for the sole purpose of note taking. Thank goodness. Because I can type as fast as anybody can speak, but I cannot write that fast. Such devices shall not be used during the pretrial conference for electronic-based communications and shall not be set in a mode that permits transmission of any form of communication to any person or device, either inside or outside the judicial center. The device must be on silent mode with no notifications sounding. Agreed. Number 8, any person who violates the provisions of this order regarding the use of electronic devices will be subject to the penalties for contempt of court, including fines and summary incarceration under any applicable statute. I think that's supposed to say statute, order, or rule of court. Any reporter who violates this order, the news organization the reporter represents, and any news outlet that rebroadcasts or republishes any account prohibited by this order may also be subject to sanction. Yeah, we take this very seriously. We will all abide by the rules. There will be no video recording, video broadcasting, or still photographing inside of the Crawford County Judicial Center. That, in my opinion, is not. It's extra constitutional. That's. I don't think it's a hill that I want to die on in this case, but I don't think that's constitutional to order that. It is certainly constitutional to order it inside the courtrooms where there is an expectation of privacy, but not in the just general judicial center. It's not a hill I'm going to die on for this one, those guys. Number 10, no news media interviews whatsoever shall be conducted in the public areas of the Crawford County Judicial Center. I think what they're trying to do there is protect the Amish community. In fact, that might be what's happening in number 9 as well. They're probably trying to protect the Amish community from nosy reporters and kind of overbearing reporters wanting an interview. Number 11, the sheriff of Crawford County or his designee in consultation with the court shall have the authority to make sure reasonable rules and regulations as may be required to provide adequate security intended to assure the safety of all those in the Crawford County Judicial Center and on the Judicial Center grounds and the orderly conduct of the pretrial conference. They were pretty serious about security last time. Okay, informational. All reporters and members of the general public must enter the Judicial Center through the front entrance of the building on East Center Street and must pass through security screening. Parking is available on and around Diamond Park at metered and non-metered spaces. The court will not validate parking. Access to power outlets will not be available in the courtroom. All media inquiries should be directed to the AOPC. And Stacy and Kimberly are amazing. So we will direct our calls to them. So that's what's going to happen, guys, in the case against Brian Cranston in this pretrial conference. I will be there. I will be there with bells on. I will have my laptop so I can take quick notes. I will do my very best to have it charged and ready to go so that I don't lose power like I did in the last 10 minutes of the last hearing. That's where we are in Rebecca Byler. So if you, just as a reminder, if you ever want to know anything more about Rebecca's case, please visit gavinfish.com, click on cases, and everything is ordered in chronological order, starting with the newest first. Not all cases that I cover on the channel do end up on my website, just the ones where I get lots of information. So Rebecca Byler is right here. Click on that, and that will take you to the page that we've been looking at. Thank you to my patrons who make it possible for me to publish my website and to put these things on the internet for you guys to see. If you would like to support me financially so that I may do that, please click on my Patreon link either on my website, which is right here, or it is linked down in the description below. Also, Oh, if you guys would, I have noticed that several of you have been supporting my mods who are amazing. If you go to the support tab on my site and go down to the very bottom, click buy mods a coffee, you can get Jamie and Autumn a couple extra bucks because they only allow, or they do this by volunteer. And so let's help our moderators if we possibly can. Let's see if there's anybody who has put in the GF just to see if there's anything that I need to read while we're here. There are a couple. Let's go over. I'm going to show Mr. Cranston here. With all, Anne says, what are the pros and cons of using your speedy trial right? Okay, the pros and cons. The pro is that it does not give the prosecution very much time to prepare for a case. That's the pro. The con is it does not give your defense very much time to prepare for a case. That's the main thing for me. Now, this case that I just covered here in Western PA, the victim was murdered on March 26th of 2023, and here we are just a little over a year later at trial. That is actually pretty fast. That is actually very, very fast. But yeah, that's the main thing, I think. Okay, good question. Let's see. TMI Steph says, just wanted to formally say hi. TMI Steph, thank you very much for being here. I don't recognize your handle. That doesn't mean you haven't been here. It's good to see a new handle. If you guys are new here, please consider subscribing. I would deeply appreciate that. And then TMI Steph says, I was about to say that, protecting the Amish community from being on camera. So what ends up happening is the reporters who want video footage and photographic, photographs, they end up going just barely off of the property, and they use long lenses and they get the photographs that they want. So I don't know why they necessarily have us do that, but it probably does have something to do with protecting the Amish community. And TMI Steph, thank you very, very much. Thank you for being the comforting voice to hi on edibles me and telling me everything is going to be okay a few months back. Oh, okay. Get yourself some cookies. Thank you very much, TMI Steph. I deeply appreciate that. And now that you mention that, I do remember you. It's good to see you here again. Hope that you're doing well. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you this time. I will see you on the next one. I think what we're going to do, we're going to be circling back around to Micah Miller. And I know that there's a lot online man, there's just so much. There's just so much happening with people talking online about the Micah Miller case. I did see, thanks to my admins of the fish tank, guys, fish tank is over here on Facebook. If you ever want to join us, just go to Facebook and search the fish tank, and you can join us for that. But I did see a post, thanks to my admins there, which are Autumn and Jamie, that the family is saying, go to News Nation for any news and to any of their interviews. Other than that, don't trust what you see. Now, I personally, I think that I've been pretty darn reserved in my coverage of the case. I've been trying really hard not to go over the top on things. But there is something I want to do, and it's on your screen right there. I would like to watch Micah Miller's funeral at Solid Rock Church. I would like to see what was said, and I think that tomorrow we're going to watch that together. So that is my plan. So if that's your thing, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're having a hard time getting notified by YouTube, go over to the fish tank, join the group, and then sign up for notifications from Jamie and Autumn. That is the surefire way, the foolproof way of getting notifications on my channel. Okay, I'm rambling. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.